Resident Evil 2 came out 20 years ago. Fuck, I had nightmares from that game. I only saw the later sections by watching my pal's older brother play through them, while we cowered nearby at each nail-biting set piece. I was obsessed. I kept going back for more. I wanted to know what happened, what more scares awaited, how it all fit together. And I've not played it since then. But while 20 years have gone by, my memory has not faded. I have a profound nostalgia for it. It's like a nice cozy blanket. A gross, blood-stained blanket, but a nice one, you know? So how does this remake fare against those strong feelings? See, this is a proper remake. A whole new game built on the ideas of the old. It's got the same overall plot, same setting and characters, and many of its classic moments are recreated, but it's all in a whole new format. And part of what makes Resi 2, well, Resi 2 is the setting. The Raccoon City police station is as memorable a location as the best of them, an old art museum turned into a home for law enforcement, with the game explicitly setting itself in 1998, the year of the game's original release. Every inch of it is seeped into my soul, and I expect new players will find it gets under their skin just as easily as those did in 1998. The overall feeling is of a place that is real, accommodating dozens of once living people, but it's more than that. A symbol of justice and security, besieged by the dead outside and rotting with even worse horrors within. It's a rich and inspired location. There's a reason it's haunted us for over 2 decades. There are a couple of sequences and areas later on that feel much more video gamey, far less well drawn, and they stick out like a sore thumb, but they do at least highlight how exceptionally considered the rest of the game's world is. Of course, this is a modern game, and it draws not just on the past for ideas. The police station is, along with other locations, all one interlinked and persistent space. Items will always be where you leave them, and so will enemies. Leave a zombie alive in the library? It'll be there when you inevitably have to go back. There's no easy escape. And this all gets taken to a whole other level when the Tyrant arrives later in the game, a foe that will chase you wherever you go and who cannot be stopped, only slowed. Even the plain old zombies are tough as nails, they just soak up bullets, and while I'm no one for gore, the way zombies crumple and split open under gunfire is appropriately disgusting. Heads burst open, jaws fall off. You'll wince at each successful shot, ensuring even while you win, you're never comfortable. And you do not want to waste bullets in this game. Missing a shot is utterly painful, and this scarcity isn't immediately apparent. Resources are so plentiful in the early hours, I felt all too confident, mocking the game with my abundance of weapons. My first wake-up call came when my knife broke. Fuck. And from there, ammo only became scarcer, harder foes draining my resources every time I began to stockpile. The game feels expertly paced, its designers seeming to know just how well you'll be doing at any given moment. Its final battles feel a little easier than they ought to, but otherwise the difficulty is pitched almost perfect, especially in the middle, because in spirit, it ultimately feels like a game rooting for you. Or sure, it'll put you through your paces, but at the end, this is a game that wants you to succeed. And that goes hand in hand with its earliest characters. There are still 2 campaigns, one for Leon and one for Claire, with the early sections largely unfolding the same but differing as the game goes on. Then there's new scenarios unlocked when you finish one campaign, letting you run through a revised campaign as a character you didn't choose. Then there are extra modes, secret campaigns. There's a lot of game in here. The plot is overall virtually unchanged from the original, and while there's restraint on how few cutscenes it opts for, the script is still mostly made of cheddar. But hey, Resi 2's plot was fun, a nicely escalating series of events that even in its bombastic finale managed to keep its feet firmly planted in the ground. The remake really emphasises the sense of ordinary people in extraordinary situation, for so much time too that its big boss fights towards the end feel really earned. The payoff as our characters go from survivors to heroes put a proper smile on my face. And a huge part of that is that Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield are not the ludicrous badasses of later games. The remake even plays up how out of their depth they are, with the evil corporation Umbrella's involvement not really even being hinted at until some ways into the game. The bigger story is kept firmly behind the curtain, so our heroes can live in the smaller struggles. Their peril is real, not tethered to supervillains. And they're just so nice. To each other, Claire to Sherry, Leon to Ada, these strangers all manage to care for each other without obstacle. Claire's relationship with Sherry especially is pretty heartwarming. She's here looking for her older brother, but winds up acting as big sister, and goes from just trying to survive to doing everything she can to rescue this young girl. Despite all the grimness of the world and its story, the heroes at its heart are so wholesome. For all it retains though, this isn't a substitute for the original. If you're really interested in what made Resi 2 such a big deal back in the day, you're still going to have to go back and play it. Its unique bag of tricks are exclusive to its fixed camera and tank controls, its quality of life improvements over its immediate predecessor. The Resi 2 remake doesn't improve on what the original did, it's doing its own thing instead, which is for the best, because this remake can just stand apart, try new things and offer fresh experiences. With its system-driven elements, it ensures your journey through it won't be the same as everyone else's either. You're all going to come away with moments unique to you. And my journey was especially memorable. This was a return to the halls of my childhood nightmares, the foes that kept me behind the couch, and here I am 20 years later ready to confront and defeat them all by myself. It felt like my very own sequel, where I could finally put those ghosts to rest. That's something truly unique that I won't soon forget. So Resident Evil 2, the remake, gets a way and play it right now from me. If you're still not sold, here's a wee sequence that happened to me that showcases the game at its best.